Hey everybody, it's Durgertime. Welcome back to another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2016 AEW. We had a pretty good show. First one in the books. We did Revolution. We move on to March. As of recording of this, we are well on our way to Revolution. I'm recording this right before Revolution starts, so kind of exciting to see where this is. Obviously, the card's very different from what I predicted. But not far off. I think the results are going to be right. I'm actually 50-50 right now on actually if Cody defeats MJF. But I feel like Cody needs I don't know. The booker in me says you don't want to bury MJF. But also, I feel like Cody needs a comeuppance, and I think it's the right time. And Sammy Guevara and Darby Allin, this also 50-50 on. I booked it with Sammy going over, and that was simply because I just thought that having the heel win in that scenario might give Darby some a bigger reaction later. Also, Darby in our roster is rated lower. Both of these guys are rated lower than they probably deserve. So might be a little bit harder to convincingly give Darby a win there. Other than that, the Revolution cards, like I said, a little bit different. I think right now it's the Young Bucks versus Kenny and Paige at Revolution, and that's not happening on our Revolution, because we set that up. So we kind of predicted that that's going to happen, and it's probably going to happen on a Dynamite. But I also have a suspicion that they are ending their story, and ours is just getting started. So now that we're done and we're out of the way with the old, we could start building new. So we're going to start booking towards Double or Nothing in the way that I would like to see. So, like I said, there's no weird catches. This is not one of the other shows that we've done where we have like wheels and metrics and numbers. This is just booking. We are just going to have fun with this, and we are going to book like we would book AEW. So, this is kind of my almost a prediction series, I guess, but we're going to try to figure it out and try to book what we would do. Now, I had said that I was not going to really hire a lot of people. Really not that many at all. Probably 3 if I could. And there's an alternative of maybe 1 or 2 additional people if the opportunity arose. I don't think those opportunities will arise, especially not for the length of this show. Obviously, TEW 2020 is on the way. Some people are saying as early as April. I think it's going to be closer to June. So a lot of these shows that we're doing when 2020 comes around, I might still book on 2016, but realistically, we're probably going to be transferring over to 2020. So that means that if we keep the show going, which I think we will, it kind of will end up being not a slightly fresh start, but it might need to be modified, right? So keeping that in mind, there's some limitations that we have in terms of long-term booking, right? But let's go ahead and let's look at our short list. And that's kind of what I want to look at now. Now I've fixed the contracts. Though some of them are kind of unrealistic. So the people we are looking at mostly, well, actually, let's go for a pie in the sky right now. The people I would hire. And like I said, I'm not really going to hire anybody else. I'm really not interested in hiring people in this. I really rather use who we have. That's kind of my goal, is to use the crew I have and try to make it work. I'm just not really interested in adding more. We'll play around with the roster that we have. But pie in the sky, we'll add to the short list. First is Kota Ibushi, who I don't think is going to have a I don't know when his final month is. It's probably not anytime soon. But, we will hopefully get him at some point. It only makes sense for Kenny's storyline. The other pie in the sky... Well, there's a bunch of pie in the skies. This is the weird one. For me, this is just a personal preference, but I would take El Generico in a second. I'm currently writing a new episode of Armchair Booker. It's been quite a while because it's been difficult to get to it. And one of the ones that I have kind of a couple different scripts working through because I kind of want to do more of them this year for you guys. And one of the ones I really want to focus on is the missed opportunities of Sami Zayn. Most of them are not WWE's fault necessarily. A lot of it was prone to injury and things, but I think he could have been probably one of their biggest stars if played right, and it was a huge missed opportunity for them. So it's definitely something I kind of want to look at. So he's my pie in the sky. If given the opportunity, would take him a second. The much more realistic ones, first of all, Matt Hardy. Much rumored, and I think makes the most sense and could have the most interesting dynamic in AEW. Whether or not he ends up becoming the Exalted One, I think he's a big get. The other two are probably also not shocking. I have to find them on here because I don't think they have their correct or their WWE names, but they are both in WWE. It's probably easier just to grab it from their roster here. To no shock, you guys know exactly what I'm about to do anyways. You're probably screaming at the screen right now saying it, but we're talking about the Revival. So I want to shortlist them. Their contracts are up soon. I tried to set some people's contracts to what I've seen in real life, what I know. So some people are like 3 years away and stuff like that. Some of them I kept them random just to make it interesting. These guys I think are up in April, I want to say. So that will be interesting if we can get them. And probably will be a bit of a bidding war. Like I said, if I could just pick up everybody, there are people on this roster that I would like I would take I would take AJ Styles, of course. Right? The point isn't just to try to steal everybody, but I would sure, EC3 or Ricochet, of course. But the point is to use the roster that we have with AEW. There's no reason to just ignore this, right? We're not building a company up from the ground up. And I think it's more interesting to play with the toys that we have. So those are my three ones that I would really want to get. In fact, I think Matt Hardy is available to negotiate now. So let's go ahead and... Yeah, because his contract, I think, is up Monday. Literally, the day one of March. So... $1,550 a month for a written contract doesn't sound too far off for us. What's our pricing here for our written contracts? We got a lot of. Wow, yeah, that seems right. Just a little bit under Kenny. Wow, our road agent cost a lot. That seems right. I would probably even be willing to increase it just a little bit, just to give him a competitive contract. He has no rival bids yet, or at least not that we've seen. No companies have outstanding offers. So we can kind of give him whatever. I'm going to up it to... So we have some money to spend. I just don't want... let's say $1,650. No creative control, no nothing like that. We'll do travel coverage and a bonus of 1,500 or 15,000 sounds fine. Non-compete clause, 3 years, perfect. Only major TV shows, yeah, that's fine. Events and age shows are really all we're looking for. So we'll hear back from that. I would expect a contract to get floated back over pretty quickly, but we'll see. We're probably going to be in a bit of a bidding war for that, but I think we can win. We have the money to spare, and again, since we're not going on a crazy binge on hiring, it should be fine. I don't know what our financials are for our shows. Maybe we're making money. Ticket sales, TV sales. I mean, overall, it doesn't seem too bad. I mean, we only had that one show, but we'll have to see what our financials are looking like. But we can have a lot of money to hemorrhage if we need to. I think we'll be fine. The other thing we have to worry about are our new goals. Time to heal. It's fine. Test fee, Darby, and Marco. Okay, so some issues. Now, same things we looked at. I don't think we added anything, but just to remind you from the last episode, must not fall below Colt size. John Moxley must be kept above 71. Cannot hire any contract that has a less than 53 in athletic and not in less than 53. Again, since we're not really hiring that many people, not going to be an issue. The people we are hiring easily probably are in that area. We just have to worry about the John Moxley popularity. Don't think that's going to be too difficult. I mean, what's his popularity at now? 78? He ain't going to go down. From us, at least, I don't think. Not really a plan to it. Wow, he's going to make a lot of $21,000 a month. That's a pretty hefty contract. What's Chris Jericho's? 25. Not far off. Interesting that Kenny's not even that high. Kenny doesn't have nearly as much popularity in America, though, which probably does not help. Yeah. Interesting. All right. So, as I had talked about, we're not really going to book Dark. I'm just going to kind of use it to kind of give some wrestlers a little bit of time to play and time to grow. We're not really worrying about them in terms of booking or storylines. I know some storyline stuff happens on Dark, but we're not really doing it that way. If we were doing it the full scale way, we would actually have to have 3 shows, like Being the Elite, Dark, and this, and it's just too much to handle and doesn't really work right with what the game functions with. So what we're doing is we're really just focusing on Dynamite and the pay-per-views. I'll try to recap Dark if you guys want. Like I said, let me know. I can always show you like the recap right before. Not really all going to be anything that interesting. It's mostly going to be lower card guys, giving them some opportunity to get some wins, to get some skills in, to try to just give them some time and give them some time to develop. And we're still probably going to do pre-shows and post-shows on the actual night. Dark is basically going to be sort of a standalone thing. So let's go ahead and advance. And let's see what we got here. We got some complaints. Stu Grayson's unhappy for the push we're giving him. Trent Beretta is now available to work in a new area. Doesn't really have anything to do for us. And Matt Hardy is gone from the WWE. His contract expires. Arn Anderson signs a pay-per-deal appearance with Chikara? Sure. We have some new goals, I think. No, same goals. I don't know why. Did I not delete that the first time, I guess? Okay. What's going on in the news here? Arn Anderson is working everywhere. Getting that paper. Al Snow joins NWA. Yeah, that sounds right. Alicia Fox. Oh, the purge has happened. WWE has purged everybody. This is always the funnest thing about these saves, is to look at what the hell happened. This game purges people so weird. Workers leaving. No, there's no. I guess technically Alicia Fox is no longer there, is she? Sometimes they just get rid of people, though. It's really funny. So I just want to see if he has any rival bids yet. How do I do that here? Might have to go back into him. Just curious. I would have to imagine that he would have a rival bid. No rival bids. So, you know, he's probably going to take it, and that'll be easy, but never know. Someone can come in, I suppose, and swoop him up, but I would think that WWE would throw a bid in there at some point. His popularity in America seems shockingly low for how tenured he is, but that might be right. Maybe I'm overestimating that. All right, we got Dark tonight. Like I said, we'll just book through it real quick, and we'll move on to Dynamite. All right, we're here for Dynamite. Let's see. No locker room incidents, which is good. Let's try to meddle. Again, trying to build up some type of relationship with someone. Let's try Moxley and Jungle Boy. No effect. Just the more friendships, the more proteges, anything like that, the better it's going to be. That we have like 100% locker room rating, so it really doesn't matter. Where are we going to be at? Great Lakes. That's fine. Actually, I kind of want to be in a different area. Let's go southeast. Let's go to an area we haven't been yet. Have not been in Tri-State. Let's do that. Pick best venue. Sounds good. All right. We'll do this region. And so we got some stuff to book. But it's basically a fresh slate. So it's going to be fresh storylines for us. Should be pretty interesting. We'll see what we can do. And let's move on from there. All right, see you in a bit. All right, guys. This is kind of a cluster of a Dynamite. Didn't really get all that I wanted in, but I might be rushing trying to get all my storylines in. So this is only like half of the storylines I have written down right now, and oh boy, this thing was complicated. All right, let's just go into the show and see where we leave off. I realized that I actually didn't even get a women's segment in here yet. But I guess, like AEW, the women's division is an afterthought for me too. We'll have to figure out what to do here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this thing. So I do start with a pre-show, get some people that weren't really on much on our pay-per-view, give them a match. It's not great. It's just there. Gives them some opportunity. Swole and Kong have zero chemistry, so that's good to know for the future. We start to show off much better, though. Jon Moxley cuts a promo. He had just lost his match against Jericho at Revolution, and it was due to interference by Jake Hager. He says that he knows in his heart that he should have been the champion, and that this damn Inner Circle just keeps on trying to run roughshod, and he's sick of it. He wants a piece of Hager tonight. And kind of calls him out on it. Got the crowd hotter. We advance the storyline of Moxley and Jericho. Afterwards, we have the announcers putting over the fact that we are going to have a match between Omega and Hangman Page versus the Young Bucks, and it is a title shot that the Young Bucks earned at Revolution. Does pretty good. No, we don't need to book it. Afterwards, wow, this is actually a really great match. Great wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. The Young Bucks defeat Omega and Page in 14 minutes when Matt Jackson defeats Adam Page by pinfall, and thus win the World Tag Team titles. Adam Page was a weak link. Obviously, Matt Nixon seemed off his game, which is interesting. Got the crowd buzzing. Nick had an 85. Matt had a 72. Kenny had a 82, and Hangman Page had a 52. Not bad. Both of them are improving. But basically, we have Omega and Page's titles. Gave him one title defense, but they have lost it to the Young Bucks. And we find out afterwards through this next segment, which also does pretty well, 65. Page loses the match due to his overconfidence and not tagging in Kenny, wanting to kind of prove himself. Afterwards, Omega gets in his face, and they kind of have a shoving match before Page attacks him and actually hits him before downing him, and then walking off, leaving Kenny looking shocked and mad. We advance the Hangman storyline. We actually lose a little heat from this, mostly because of Hangman Page's underperformance in this segment. But we seem to have a tag team breakup, and it seems that Page now has some animosity towards Kenny himself, and the Young Bucks obviously now are the tag team champions. We have a vignette that happens. The Butcher, the Blade, and the Bunny are in a butcher shop, and they start talking to the camera, and they start talking about they're here in AEW because they believe in the big hunt, and they believe that there's the best type of game are the people in AEW, and their next hunt will be of epic proportions. So they're calling out something. Actually got the crowd hotter, which is interesting. Advances their storyline of their Butcher and the Blade, and we now have them kind of starting to move them away from it. I felt like their gimmick, for as unique of a wrestling group as they are, I felt like their gimmick was kind of off. It was like they just kind of showed up as mercenaries or something. It didn't really make much sense. They kind of were working for MJF, but not. The whole thing was real clusterfuck. So this is sort of to kind of get out of that. And we're giving them more of a gimmick. We're going to give them basically the gimmick of a group of big game hunters. They look here to get trophies. And we may see the effects of that very soon. Now we have Private Party versus Jurassic Express the third, which is Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus. It's okay. A 46D for these guys ain't bad. Luchasaurus's performance, what the hell, dude? 15. Oh boy. I gotta look at that. I might have to up that a bit. That seems a little low. He should be like 30s, maybe 40. Although this was a high spots match, so that might make him struggle. Let's see. Poor psychology. Yeah. It might be, I still think his rating might be a little low. We might have to boost that, just tweak it a little bit. He shouldn't be high, but he shouldn't be that low. So we'll have to take a look. Zero chemistry between Marco Stunt and Luchasaurus seems right, though. That's fine. But despite it being a terrible match, Luchasaurus defeats Private Party after defeating Isaiah Cassidy with pinfall. Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Overall, actually, Private Party brought the group up. I'm concerned more about the next segment, which does about as well. But after Luchasaurus' win, Butcher, Blade, and Bunny come out and attack him, overwhelm both of them, and try to start ripping off Luchasaurus' mask. Apparently, that's the trophy that they want. Before the mask can be ripped off, though, Jungle Boy comes in and breaks it up. Actually does enough damage to kind of push them aside and kind of, move them out. Bunny's not suited for her gimmick, so we might have to look at that. We advance the storyline, and obviously now we have the Butcher seeming to eye up Luchasaurus as his next prey. We have a AEW Shockwave title scramble, first of possibly many. If you remember, we gave the mid-carders a interesting new mid-carder title was basically like a 24/7 title that it always has to be defended. So if the champion is in a match, it must be defended. So the triple threat here is kind of a disadvantage. And Joey Janela loses the Shockwave title. Sammy Guevara actually takes the title, ends up defeating Kip Sabian. And because it's a triple threat, obviously Joey Janela does lose the title from that. It's not much to say about it. It's about what I expected. Giving Kip Sabian more to do, even though he can take the loss. But I really wanted Sammy to have that Shockwave title, but we kind of had to finish off that Darby Allin storyline. So this is kind of a way to just get it off of Janela, give it to Sammy, and then I'm going to move on to a different direction for Sammy here. But we're going to have someone chasing the title, and I think we're going to try to keep Sammy having the Shockwave for a bit. It's going to boost him up a lot. Going to make him really happy, and then eventually when we get it off of him, the next person's going to have a big boost, I think. MJF comes out and cuts a promo. He's kind of tending to his wounds. He says that his loss to Cody was a fluke. He knows he's better than him. He knows he's surpassed his old mentor. And he wants a tag match next week with the Rhodes. He says that, I know where all the roads lead, and I know that they lead to my victory. And I want you and your aging, dusted brother versus me and the future here, as he points to Wardlow, and is trying to kind of challenge him for a tag match. It seems like MJF isn't content with taking the loss. He needs the win over Cody, and he's trying to find it any way he can. Wardlow's not suited for his gimmick either. We have to look at that. We have our co-main event, because the main event is Moxley versus Hager. Pac versus Pentagon Jr. In a matchup I've never seen in the singles division. Pentagon loses, though. Pac defeats him in 19 minutes with a corkscrew shooting star press. Pentagon was starting to tire at the end of this. Got the crowd buzzing, though. Pac had a 70. Pentagon had a 43. Pac basically carried this match. And finally, Jon Moxley comes out for what's supposed to be a singles match, but instead is ganged up on by the Inner Circle, and they basically attack him in the ring. He actually does a good job defending himself for a while before the disqualification while fighting Hager, and eventually the whole match just breaks down. The whole thing just is a big mayhem clusterfuck. We actually lose heat for our storyline, so it probably wasn't the right call for this. But Moxley gets overwhelmed. Obviously, we end the show with the finalization of that, where all of the Inner Circle comes out, and Moxley just gets overwhelmed and beat up, kind of showing that one man versus an army, the army can easily overwhelm him, and he has to rethink his plan if he wants to take out Jericho, because it's not going to work just going after him one at a time. Moxley looked good. Chris Jericho looked excellent. Sammy looked lost, unfortunately. But overall, a good way to end the show. So we kind of are moving. We use Marco Stunt too much. Yeah, well, fine. Increased our show 16 regions. Overall, not bad, 67. And again, we're kind of, some of this is springing off of what they're doing already, but a lot of the things I kind of am taking to a different direction, or a direction that I think would be more interesting. We still have a lot of storylines that have not shown up here yet. Of what we're going to do with the Dark Order, what we're going to do with the women's division, stuff like that. So that's probably going to lead into the next Dynamite. But it's difficult to book all those storylines for two shows. All right. Anything in the news here? Nothing really. Show seemed like it went well overall. Let's see if we got been great, drawing a lot of praise. That's good. We got some time to heal issues. Sammy and Nick. TNT's still unhappy. That's going to be our issue probably for a bit. A butcher needs to learn how to sell. Yeah. Okay. So that might be an issue for us. It's just the TNT approval. We may lose that over time, but I don't know what do they need? Minimum is B- every show. That's going to be difficult. That's a difficult request. So we don't really have that talent pool. And again, we're not going to hire for that. We're just have to make some stars. It's going to get rocky at first, but we can do it. A lot of the things I've been designing for storylines is try to get those younger guys a bigger boost in popularity. So that's really the goal. People like Sammy, we're hoping to. How are you only normal? You just won a belt. You should be happier for that. You're not even remotely interested. Interesting. Just like, whatever. But that's kind of our goal will be to kind of get there. Do we have any positive personality right now? Pleased. No one cares about BJ. Chris Jericho's happy. It's interesting that like you win a title, but you're just like, whatever. But like I was saying, a lot of what we're focusing on is trying to build them up and hopefully give them a big boost, and that will help to start to give us some momentum when it comes to the mid card, because the mid card is really what kind of can drag us down, unless we cheat and do like what the game does and just put 3 matches on and just put our main eventers on for each one. But that's not how we're going to do this. So we got another Dynamite coming up, some more storylines we need to kind of flesh out, and I will see you guys for that one. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.